Welcome back, everyone. So, in today's video lecture, we are going to learn about load balances, what are load balances, and we are going to do a hands-on implementation of application load balancer. So, basically, for cloud practitioner certification, the implementation is not a criteria, but to make you understand like how it works in AWS, we should know like how the load balancer works. So as the name suggests, load balancer means it will balance the load. So first of all, let's implement that and then we will go into the theory of the load balancer. Okay. So in this case, we are going to have two EC2 instance, which is running a website, right? Same website. And we will send traffic to those EC2 instance through a load balancer. And what should ideally happen is the traffic should be distributed by the AWS application load balancer to the two EC2 instance. So let's jump in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create two EC2 instance, launch two EC2 instance, and we'll see like how we can quickly launch these two instance in one go. I will put it as okay, let me put it as server one, or let's put a server, my server, let's say, right? And I will keep all things as it is. We know like what are the free tier available here. We will not choose anything here because we are not going to SSH into the EC2 instances. We'll keep all the default settings as it is. I will select the existing group as web access. Web access means I have access to the port 80 and I will keep all the instance details as it is, right? And let's launch. So you see here, there are number of instances too. And when I launch these instances, two instances will be launched. But before that, because we are talking about a web server, let me install the web server details. Once the EC2 instance boots up, the web server should also boot up and give us a demo web page. So as you can understand from my previous video where we can preload the EC2 instance with a web server, the same thing I am doing for this particular video. I am putting a user data so that when these two instances comes up, what will happen is it will install the Apache web server and it will also uh, create one index file and it will say as hello from the host, and I have given it as a parameter so that the host name which is created when this EC2 instance is launched, it will come up there automatically. Okay, so we are good here. Let's launch the instance. So the instance is being launched. Let's see the status of the instance. These two are coming up. Before it comes up, let me quickly change the name. This is 2 and this is 1. Mind the fact that these two instances are having the same HTML page with the different host name, means the same website. Okay, now one of them is running. Let's see about others, and it's coming up, it's initializing. And what we will do is in the meantime we will see about our load balances thing, right? What load balances we want to do or create and other things. And Before going in there, let me check once more what is my EC2 instance status, and both are running. Very good. My server 1 and my server 2. And since it is a website hosting EC2 instance, I will create a load balancer, which is an application load balancer, the details of which we can do in different chapter, but for your high level understanding, it only deals with HTTP and HTTPS traffic, right? And there are other load balancers also available in AWS. One is network load balancer. From exam perspective, only thing you need to know is, they are capable of handling millions of requests. For example, if you are considering latency as one of your issues, then this can be one of the solutions for your design. Okay. Then there are TLS offloading, support for UDP, and static address, right? So all these things we will learn in different chapters. And just in high level overview, gateway load balancer is for security, to understand the firewall, configure the firewall, and other supports for policy and compliance, right? So what we'll do is we'll do create. I will put my load balancer name as my ALB, and it is internet facing, and we'll be using IPv4 address. Internet facing means it will be accessible to anybody from the internet from any IP. Okay. Then we will put the VPC as default, which we have already created uh, during our previous lectures, or we are using the only the default. You can use the default one or you can create one. I am using the default one, and I will do mappings. We have to at least select two availability zones. Why? Because the load balancer will route the traffic to targets in this availability zones. Don't get overwhelmed with all these keywords. Here, the targets and other things we will be discussing, right? In this case, we will be choosing all the three, right? And this is already will be taken care of by AWS. Don't worry about that. Next is we are going to create a security group for the load balancer. And you guessed it right. What should be the security group here? What will be the configuration of security group? Let me first name the security group my ALB SG, right? Okay. So allow what things I should allow? HTTP request, right? And VPC remains the same. And I can add the rule here is I will do HTTP ODT and from all over the world. Any IP can connect. Sorry, this is your outbound rule. Give me a second. Let me add this rule here. We can create again the security group. Okay, I think we have to do it again because I came out of that particular thing. Load balancer. Let's create the load balancer. We'll do create my ALB internet facing IPv4. We'll choose the default VPC, all the three availability zones so that the load balancer can route the traffics to each of them. And the security group which I am going to create is this one, which I've already created, but let me create one more for you to see like how it is being created. Right? So my ALBSG allow HTTP requests. VPC remains the same. I will write and add one add rule for inbound that will be for all the HTTP requests on the from any of your IPs, right? That is internet facing. And then we'll all the things remains as it is. We'll do a create security group. So my ALB SG security group has been created. Since it is created, now I will refresh this and I will see and connect this particular security group here. Right? I will delete the default security group because I don't need the default one. The myALB security group, which allows all the HTTP requests on port 80 from any IP. Now, the most important point here is like the ALB is actually listening on port 80 and it is allowing the requests on port 80 HTTP requests from any of the IPs. But where it will direct this particular request to? It has to direct to, you know, the EC2 instance, which is holding our websites. Okay. First of all, what we should see is what is our instance holding? Let's see first that, right? What is our instance holding there? We go to instance ID. I copy the public IP here. Then I will come to the website here and I'll first see like whether the web server is up and running on the EC2 instance which we just chose. So this is the first EC2 instance which is hosting this website. Let's try the other one now. I will copy the IP of the other EC2 instance and I will paste it here. And it should come up. Yes, it comes up with the details as required, right? So this is from the EC2 instance server 2 and this is from EC2 instance server 1, right? Now, why we are creating this load balancer? Back to the target group, all the request which comes to the load balancer, right? We want to send it to both the EC2 instance, because here we cannot just be doing a refresh of EC2 instance server 1 and EC2 instance server 2, and we cannot give a URL, the ones which we are actually showing here, or the IPs to the application team. Hey, you use both these IPs. We cannot give like this. Of in some of the cases, it can be like, for example, Kafka and other things, but we want to load balance it, right? So we have to put a load balancer on top of the EC2 instance so that any request which comes to the load balancer is sent to these particular EC2 instance. This is my server 1 which with this IP, and this is my server 2 with this IP, right? Okay, so that's why I'm creating a now target group. So my target group should be containing the instances, right? And I will give my target group name as my TG, right? It is for HTTP port 80 using IPv4. The VPC remains the same. Protocol version is HTTP1. Health check and other things remains as it is. No need to worry on that. We'll do next. Now, these are my servers to which I want to send EC2 instances. Just I showed you about the both the instances, right? Which is running the same website, right? So I'll choose those and I will include as pending in below, and I will create the target group. So the target groups, it is being provisioned. Then let's see if we have the instances there or not. Two targets it is showing me, and it is showing me the registered targets. And what are my registered targets? My server 1 and my server 2, right? Okay, now the testing time. So let's go to our load balancer. And We'll first of all select the target group here, which we just created, my target group, right? And we are almost done. We don't need to change anything else. We have the, you see, my ALB is internet facing IPv4. Security group is my ALB SG, which is allowing HTTP request on port 80. And the target groups and other things is my TG, right? And VPC, the subnets is already taken care of by AWS. So I'll say create load balancer. So it says successfully created load balancer. Let's see what is the status. It is being provisioned, right? Then in the meantime, what we'll do is, let's see how much time it takes for provisioning. It's coming up in a moment. And as we see, like this is our server for server 1 and this is our server 2, right? So let's see, it is provisioning, still it is provisioning. So we don't need this page. This is my ALB, this is my instance details. We will wait for this particular ALB to come up. So for the time being, I will pause the video and I'll come back again on this one. So our load balancer is active now. Now, what does it mean? It means like if I give this particular DNS name, which I'll copy now, to the application team to use it and to access the websites, then it will be going like this. So you see, it is coming from the host IP, this particular one. And if I refresh the page, means I put a new traffic to the load balancer now, it should go to the other host, right? Let's see. I'm refreshing the page now. See, it is going to the next host. It is coming back to the next host when I refreshed. Again, refreshing, it is coming to this new host, the other server 2. So this is how the load balance is working. Like it is sending one request to server 1, the other request to server 2. It is sending the third request to server 1. It is sending a fourth request to server 2. So how does it help actually? So you might have come across, Amazon Prime Day, where people throng into the Amazon Prime website to buy things where there is so much of load and other things. So what happens is, this is the way AWS takes care of your load balancing. So that's all for this particular lecture. Next lecture will be more important one, because there we will learn, you know, the auto scaling. Like for example, the number of requests coming is in millions. So how will you actually take care of this particular request? How the 2:2 instance, which is not suffice to take care of multiple million requests, how they can be actually, increased in the number automatically, means scaled up or scaled down automatically, right? This is what we are going to learn in our next video lesson. So here you go. I hope this added some value to your learning, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks and bye.